This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to season 17, episode number 3652. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. And you are the Men's Room. Let's have today the return of Who Sucks Less. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, Men's Room Shout of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted. Drink and stay drunk. All right, here we go. A man in China has been living at the airport for 14 years after his family kicked him out. Meanwhile, a naked man jumps the fence at the Chicago airport, showing everyone his butt and his kraut. Japanese government needs citizens to buy more milk to drink. Ohio man steals tons of sex toys and some for where he makes the stink. And a bride, she chokes her mom out on her wedding day. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, if you have the money, $55 million, you can book a flight on a SpaceX rocket and go to the International Space Station. You don't have $55 million? Well, for about half that cost, you can take a ride on Jeff Bezos' space penis. But we'll assume that you don't have that kind of cheddar, but there's still things that you can splurge on. The country of Mexico, for example, they're renting out the presidential jet for things like weddings and parties. Not sure of the cost, but if you want to roll baller style, there's an option for you. But people do like to splurge on things. We were just talking about that in the office. And we splurge where we can. There was a great discussion on Reddit, actually, where they asked what used to mean you were rich, but now probably means you're broke. And some of the things that people used to splurge on include giant satellite dishes in the backyard, right? Carpet in the bathroom. Never a good idea, but somehow that said you had money. Shares of Blockbuster stock. Waterbeds, flip phones, a bunch of other crap. But look, our financial decisions don't always age well, but it feels good in the moment, hopefully. And that's what we want to talk about today. That thing, that moment, that experience when you determine that, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and spend big. So this is today's question. Either for yourself or someone else, what did you splurge on?
Be a part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send your emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
All the Charles, and away we go. Welcome to season 17, episode number 3652. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. It's a guaranteed future repeat. The exciting return of Who Sucks Less. Steve, I don't know how you do it every week. You find 3 stories, the terrible things that people do in the news.
Yeah. Today's no exception. I mean, we did a lot of looking, though.
And we put them all up there, and it's up to you to determine, of these 3 stories, which one sucks the least? How are we looking this week on Who Sucks Less?
It depends how you feel about attempted murder or abandoning your family. That's that should cover
Good
it.
times.
If you're down with both of those, you will love these stories.
Who Sucks Less coming up. Of course, we will head on over to the Odyssey app as we do every Monday through Friday at 6 today for the Men's Room Happy Hour. If you don't have the Odyssey app, you can download it now. It's absolutely free. Then search for the Men's Room Happy Hour channel. Now, that channel only goes live at 6 o'clock when we go live. So if you download it now and you turn on the channel, there will not be anything there until we go live after the show. So you get more Men's Room, and not only that, we're going to do a little what you don't need to know today. Yeah. All right. Very good. And keep in mind, this is more of an adult segment than what we do here on these airwaves as far as the language is concerned and also the topics that we cover. So keep that in mind. If there are little ones in the home, kindly escort them out or put on your headphones if you're checking out the Men's Room Happy Hour. We had a couple people, though, randomly come up to us today and say, hey, man, today's the day I'm going to check out the Men's Room Happy Hour.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like, thank you. That's very cool. So,
and I said, so what do you guys call it? I said the happy hour. He's like, that's right, it's a happy hour. I'm like, I'm not even going to correct
the happy hour. Close
Just go with it.
Yeah. Either way, yes. And on to our question. And what did you splurge on for you or someone else? Now, when you think about splurging, as far as buying stuff for yourself, all right, yeah. Splurging. Yeah, it's going to be a fun day with that one. There are all kinds of ways you splurge, but you don't even realize that you splurge on yourself. You know what I mean?
Ew.
Oh, man, it's all over me. Jesus, God.
For me all day, Ted.
First thing we brought up, of course, one of our favorite things.
Slurp again.
What do people, what is Mike's list of the most enjoyable things that you can do chores-wise in your home? Vacuuming, right?
Right, that was number one.
So you don't think of it as a splurge, but if you go out and you buy a really nice vacuum cleaner, it makes all of the difference in the world.
Yes, it does.
And you can't even fathom why you spent that much money on a vacuum cleaner. I've got a Dyson, which I bought probably 6 or 7 years ago. Now, that thing is still running like a top. There's nothing wrong with that vacuum cleaner. But when I did have Gomez, the cat, Gomez, he had a hard time getting in and out of the litter box. So anytime he went in there, he'd drag half of that crap
right
out onto the floor. He kind of laid down in there, so he would just, the litter would go everywhere. He always smelled like urine because his back legs didn't work very well. So he had a hard time getting in the bathroom position, so to speak. So this litter is everywhere. And I bought one of these handheld Dyson portable vacuum cleaners.
All right.
They look like a little gun, right? And I mean, these things are super, super powerful. And it was a game changer because instead of dragging out that big vacuum all the time,
right,
unwrapping the cord, you know what I mean, doing all that stuff, I just had that little handheld thing always plugged into the wall. Whenever Gomez made his mess, I grabbed that gun, suck it all up. And it was meant for cars and boats, I believe, is the.
Yeah, but I was like not Dyson, but when I was a kid, we always had one of those too.
Oh, the handheld things?
Yeah, like the white one.
We didn't. We had to drag that goddamn vacuum cleaner up. And as a kid, man, it was a struggle, bro.
How many vacuums do you need in your home? So to me, that was a splurge. That was just me making my life easier. It's the same time, I'm a little lazy, so I didn't want to go and drag the big vacuum out. So I'm like, if they just have this, I will put it right beside the kitty litter box. I will use it. And I used it up until the point where he passed on. Now, keeping that in mind,
what are you doing with it now?
It died about the same time he did.
Oh.
Because it had to
Damn, it took the vacuum with it.
Well, basically, you're vacuuming gravel.
Yeah.
So the vacuum can only take so much of the harder material type things, and it just kind of wound the thing down pretty quick. But when I had it, I absolutely loved it. We'll start with a story here out of Mexico. This is a different type of splurging, not necessarily the vacuum variety. But if you see the presidential jet of Mexico, you might think it's a symbol of Mexican leadership, patriotism, importance, and luxury, since it costs more than $200 million. But it might just be a symbol that some really, really rich people are getting married and there's a baller bachelorette party happening. Here's the deal. The previous Mexican president, he splurged on the jet, and it's become a huge expense. Now, the current regime, they don't want it, and they've been trying to sell it for years, but there haven't been any takers.
All right.
So this week, the president of Mexico said to cover its upkeep, they're now making it available to rent out for things like weddings, parties, or elaborate, oh boy. What is it called when a girl turns 15 years old in Mexico?
Quinceañera?
Quinceañera. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ted Nip.
Right.
Ted's our foreign correspondent, for those that don't know.
I knew bar mitzvah, but I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. How come we don't get that? How come we never got that? Why didn't we think of that one? That would have been a good one for like a 15, 16-year-old kid.
No.
You don't think so?
No. Think about your average 15 or 16-year-old kid. That's when parents hate their kids.
There's a Sweet 16,
Right,
but that's
they call it a
typically-
Sweet 16.
But that's by saying Sweet
They're for
16.
girls.
They're for
Yeah.
girls.
But so
Yeah,
is
guys get hosed.
what's it called?
Quinceañera.
Right. That's also for girls. It's just for girls.
How do we get hosed on this deal?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Rhonda, don't eat anything out of there. We don't know how long it's been in there. Seriously.
That vending machine's a museum. Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's been 2 years and all that stuff in there. Just get your money back. If not, you might be in the bathroom for the rest of the afternoon. We're not kidding you. They turned it on. They turned it off. The power went on. The power went off. I don't know. Just don't eat anything.
I would not do it, man. Seriously. No. It's just juice that's orange.
We're just trying to, don't
trying to help out coworkers.
Do not splurge on anything in the vending machine.
Do not eat anything in there.
Thankfully, as far as the use of the plane, they did not mention gender reveal parties. Typically, it seems like when people get involved with this kind of stuff, they're going to Vegas.
Sure.
There's a lot of people who are, were they Instagram influencers, or I know that somebody got in trouble for taking a private plane from Canada down to someplace.
There was a bunch of Canadian influencers.
Right. And then they, I guess that broke COVID protocol. So then they were.
Well, not only that, but they're smoking on the plane.
Right, everything you're not supposed to do on a plane, they're doing.
Well, if it's a private plane.
But still, I think it's federal law that you
cannot smoke on a plane, even if you own the plane.
I believe. I mean, look, if you own the plane, you can probably do whatever the hell you want.
I think a lot of private, I'm sure there's private jets and private planes you can charter that you might be able to do those things. And when you videotape them and put them out for the world to see,
right, that's problematic.
Right. So it's probably one of those light gray areas.
Tell people.
I can't imagine Johnny Depp getting on an airplane for 5 hours and not needing or getting a cigarette.
But he's not going to tape it and put it out there.
Exactly.
You keep these things unspoken.
He might not be able to. He smokes cloves.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's why he
so
stinks.
nasty. Those are so
I don't think
nasty.
that's why he stinks.
It's unclear how much it will cost to rent the presidential jet, and we're assuming the Mexican authorities will be flying the thing. But either way, I mean...
If you want to move that jet, no offense, but just let's not ask for the money. Who buys it?
So who would buy the jet?
Yeah.
Any celebrity, any of the A-listers.
Right, I'm just thinking in that country, there might be some people that have disposable income.
Yeah, there's people that got money.
Sure.
And don't buy it in cash. You don't even need to go to the bank. They might have the money on them.
Flying to Colombia again, aren't
Yeah.
What's going on
That's the
down
thing, they're
there?
like, we can't find anybody to buy this. Like,
Yeah. Maybe don't ask questions.
Well, have you guys ever looked into a private jet before?
No.
I have looked into a private jet before.
like how much they cost to buy?
Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, I've looked that up.
I was curious because I got a pop up for one, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to check this out. There is a very small airport that is beside Bandon Dunes in Oregon. Bandon is in the middle of nowhere. It's on the coast. It's on the southwest coast. It's about a 7.5 or 8 hour drive. So my thought was this. If we got a bunch of people together who are going to get down there and play golf for a few days,
all right,
what would it cost each individual person if we wanted to fly down? So I looked at the cost of the flying down there. $5,000.
Jeez. Total.
One way. And if it has to come back and pick your ass up. So if you stay 3 or 4 days, you got to pay for it to go back. Not only that, you got to pay for it to come back and then leave again with you on it.
All right.
So this is turning into like tens of thousands of dollars for a private jet. So I can't imagine what it would cost, because this is an airplane.
Right. That's probably a full-on, 747 at least.
I know they have some of those services. What's the one I see all the time?
Wheels Up.
Yeah, on College Game Day, it's always like Curb Hurd Street uses Wheels Up.
But the people they show you, it's like it's Tom Brady, it's Kirk. Like these guys are worth like tens of millions of dollars. So I get that they do that, but you're advertising it like this speaks to me. Right, I've seen those. Who are you advertising to?
It's College Game Day. Like I'm bragging about having cheddar in my hot dogs.
Right.
Think I'm gonna take a private jet.
But this, a lot of people are spending money on travel since COVID is shutting everything down. And Steve, I know when you go on family vacations, you like to do 1 or 2 special things with your kid.
But understand something. I don't splurge on a family vacation. That is simply how much it goddamn costs. So I'm going, but for my 50th birthday.
But you don't have to fly a helicopter into Niagara Falls.
Don't have to.
Yeah, but to me, that's the splurge. Like, the vacation's not.
But this is how they got you, all right? So we took the kids, a couple of years ago, we took them to Toronto. We wanted to go to Mexico. It was over the summer. So the kids were like, it's going to be too hot. So them not really understanding how summer works. I said, look, let's book their ass a trip to Canada. We'll go to Toronto, right?
Great city.
It was still 95 degrees. And I'm like, it's same goddamn temperature, guys. It's the middle of the summer. So we went to Toronto. They had a great time. They loved it. But my wife had booked a bus trip that took you to Niagara Falls and then some kind of winery thing on the way back. So I'm just like, God damn it. Typically, that's just not my jam.
Yeah.
But I'm smart enough to know I'm not going to fight this battle, right? So the kids are excited. And there's one stop. So the bus leaves Toronto. And this really did not cost much. I'm like, it's a deal. I just hate being stuck on the bus, all right? Whatever. And then they stop at this place. Not sure what this place is. And you kind of turn the corner. And there's like these Airwolf-looking helicopters. And I'm not making this part up. The pilots are standing in front of the helicopters. They have the aviators on the jumpsuit, but they're all standing with their hands on their hips like goddamn Superman, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just the weirdest thing.
How much, do you remember how much it cost?
Immediately, the kid, like, and this is how they get, immediately, the kids are like, oh, please, I gotta, oh, please. So I can't remember the cost, but I looked at my wife. I'm like, man, I do remember. I'm like, as fathers say, and if you're a father, you've had this conversation before. Look at my wife and say, man, I'm not spending that much to get on a goddamn helicopter and fly to Niagara Falls. And then we compromised, and I spent exactly that much. We got right. So, and it was cool. I guess it's worth the money in the sense that the kids were really excited. I'm kind of clenching my ass because I'm not a fan of helicopters, one. Mm-hmm. We're over Niagara Falls, and to look down on it is just, like, all I see is wet, certain death. The kids, of course, they're not old enough to register this. It was cool, whatever. I did not mean to spend that, but I did. So, right, on every trip, I will do something with the kids. Cost extra, but like for my 50th birthday, I booked a cruise. And that's probably the most money I've spent on a vacation because it's over in, the Mediterranean. So we had to fly to Dublin, right? That's already expensive. Then you fly from Dublin to Barcelona. And then it went from Barcelona to Marseille, French. Ted, come on. You're
Marseille?
There, I'll just take your word for it. Then to Geneva, Naples, where we saw Pompeii. I don't know how much the whole thing cost, but I know it was a nice ton of money, and we did not do a lot of anything else after that for a while.
Sure. Well, even like when we...
And by the way, if you go on a cruise and you're a big drinker, just a word to the wise, get their liquor package and get the premium one. And I tried to argue this with my wife before we got on there. She goes, man, it says for the premium package to make sense, you'd have to drink like however much it was. I said, yeah, that seems a little weird. By day 3, because you just have this card you walk around, it's like your boat credit card, right? And I hand this to this chick. I'm over by the pool, and she's like, yeah, all right, man, just so you know, like, how much longer are you on the cruise? So I got like 4 days left, whatever. She's like, you've already maxed out whatever package. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So that made for an uncomfortable conversation with the wife. She's like, what do you mean? I said, you didn't get the premium one. I told you to get the premium one. You know who you're married to. And I'm on a boat, man. So the only thing you can do is eat or drink. If I'm by the pool, I'll drink. You want to go to the club? I can get a drink. If we're still in the room, I'm getting a drink. They got drinks everywhere.
Sure. Well,
I'm not going to resist this.
I know a few years back.
Dude, it was so expensive.
No, I know, but there's no chance. Like, I'm with you. Like, I'm chilling on a boat. These are all relaxing things. Sun's out.
Vacation.
Time for a cocktail.
The sun was out every day in the middle of the Mediterranean. And they all, like, they walk up to me and say, do you want a drink? I'm like, yeah, yes. I do. Let's keep it rolling, man.
We would go to Vegas for a radio convention every year. Mm-hmm. And your and Robin's deal was that you guys would go to Nobu.
Yes.
But you'd only get one thing. Because you can only afford one thing. And that was the dumplings.
We got two. One time we got two. Well, the way we went, I said, Robin, you've got to try these dumplings. I know it sounds ridiculous. She goes, I've heard of Nobu. I said, no, it is insanely expensive. So her and I would go in. We try to do it every year. And she's looking at the menu, and she's like, are you sure? I'm like, for these dumplings, it's worth it. So we got them, and it's not like they fill you up. And we're looking at each other, and I'm like, look, I'm going to go ahead and get another one. And she's like, are you sure? So, man, I don't know. I'll get yelled at by my wife when we get back home.
How much are the dumplings?
I don't remember, man, but, I mean, you're talking, like, they're average size dumplings. You get 5 or 6, just like any order, but it's like $50 or something like that.
Well, you knew what you were getting into.
Yeah, and it's not that you're breaking the bank on it. It's just for the amount of money you spent for what you get is unreasonable.
Have you ever done it where you did not realize what you were buying at the time until you got the bill? So this happened to me last year. I was in Monterey, and
very nice. Probably one of the most expensive hotel rooms I've ever paid for.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But breakfast one morning before a round of golf,
one of the breakfast spots near us that was open, believe it or not, was Roy's. Roy's is a Hawaiian chain steakhouse.
Yeah.
But they have breakfast.
Huh, all right.
So
Doesn't Roy sound Hawaiian?
Yeah, Roy.
I was thinking of Roy Rogers.
Well, that would have been better. Okay, so we sit down, we order the standard eggs, bacon, toast. Sure, not a big deal. So we decide we're going to do a shot, me and my buddy Charlie. And the guy comes over, and I said, do you have a tequila that you would recommend? That we can have a tequila before we get on the golf course. And he says, yeah, you should definitely try this Don Julio 1942. And I said, okay. Right. I never heard of it before. I know Don Julio. That's as far as...
Sure.
I don't know the line very well, right? So he brings one out. We do it. It is delicious. It is delicious. I mean, it's really, really good. So we finish breakfast. We still have some time before we are going to go play golf. And I'm like, well, hell, man, we're taking a shuttle. You know, we don't... Let's do another one. We still have another half an hour, and we're like, all right, let's just do one more. So we each do 3 shots of Don Julio 1942. Little do I know, those shots at that restaurant are $60 a piece. The guy brings the bill, and I look at it, and I'm like, $400 and some bucks. This cannot be for us.
Right.
And then I look at the Don Julio, and I'm like, oh my God, Charlie, we should not have done this. What in the hell? I was like, that's a $60 shot. He's like, get out of here. I'm like, gee, well, we're splitting this one.
Yeah.
I'm not doing like a 400. You got a tip on top of it, too. No,
I mean,
I had no idea. I was like, oh my God.
Number 1, it has a date on the bottle.
I learned that.
Yeah. Number 2, you are in Monterey, and when you're going to play Pebble Beach.
Yep.
So, I mean, that guy sees an easy upsell.
Oh, he totally.
Hey, look, you played it off. I mean, you didn't even look.
Like,
you were like, bring him.
Yeah, why not? I don't care. It's tequila. So I looked at the bill and went, what have I done? What did you splurge on for you or someone else? 206-421-ROCK.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
What did you splurge on for you or someone else? 206-421-ROCK.
By the way, Miles, just so you know, some people commented saying the Don Julio 1942 says most excellent. I'm working on a bottle now. $198 bottle at Costco.
Ooh, so even in Costco, it's $2.
That's the stuff.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Someone else brings up this one. I know that I've had a shot of it, and I believe I was with you fellas. Johnny Walker Blue.
Did it one time with Ben.
$100 a shot. That's what it was.
Before a show at the Paramount, I believe. I think that's what we were doing.
I know you bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot believe
I have a buddy that has
problem. I asked Ben, what do you want? He's like, I want that. I was like, again, I didn't know how much it cost.
Sure, man.
All right, let's do it. The hell with it.
You know how much it cost. I don't screw it. I'm going to buy it.
Oh, yeah. Once he told me, how much the shot was.
Remember, I got hit with this. I was telling you guys, man, a couple of weeks ago. Wife and I are out eating lunch, man, and I get the day before I'd gotten a shot of, oh, damn it, I cannot remember the name of it, but it wasn't the rye, right? So I got a shot. It was a regular shot.
We're saying the same brand, same company.
Yeah. So the next day, we're out of lunch again, and I look up, and I'm like, oh, hey, man, I'll take a shot of whatever the stuff was I had last night, not realizing that it was rye. So he's like, no problem. He pours it. We're talking. I order another one.
He probably was tipped off as well by the fact that you did it as a shot.
Well, no, it was sipping.
You did sip it.
Yeah, I took one quick sip, and it has the burn that says, no, slow down and sip it. So I sipped it, drank it slowly. And again, the wife's sitting across from me, so I'm trying to take my time on this. But I'll go ahead. I ordered another shot. And he goes, hey, man, listen, I don't know if you know this. These shots are $75 a pop.
Like, what? That's more expensive than...
Yeah, but he told me, he said, look, so what I did, I thought it was very cool of him. He goes, I'm not charging you for the second shot. I said, okay, that is good. He's like, I just had the feeling you didn't know. I said, I did not know.
I don't think I've ever had the very top-of-the-line Pappy Van Winkle, which is a 20-some-year-old bottle.
Yeah.
But I have had the 12-year or the 13, whatever it is. And there's a place in Fremont that does offer this. And it's $50 a shot. So when you
is it that good?
I probably,
you know what I mean?
Probably not.
I mean, I've had the 23 because somebody bought it for me.
Of course.
I mean, it was delicious. Right. I wouldn't pay for it.
Right.
Do you know what it cost?
I don't.
Yeah. I would assume near $100.
Probably. You also got to look at, like, years matter, and then if it's a version of it. Like, I like Whistle Pig Rye. Mm-hmm. But then there's a version called Whistle Pig Boss Hog.
Okay, see, that's where I started losing track of stuff. Because I'd have had whistle pig, but like, ooh, let me do that again. Not realizing it's the boss hog. And you're like, yeah, bro, this is expensive.
Yeah.
And my wife was very pleased. Hello, Angela. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
My midlife crisis forced me into a purchase of a Ducati Scrambler Classic, and I've not regretted that decision one day.
Okay, that's the first part that matters. If you don't regret it, it's money well spent. How much money did you drop on this?
Is that 20?
No, I actually got the deal on that. It was my hairdresser's husband's bike. He had to sell it. He paid, I think it was about 12. Put a beautiful exhaust system on it, a nice Termagoni exhaust on it, and sold it to me for $6,500.
Man,
damn.
What a deal. Good for you. Okay.
And it had 450 miles on it.
Man, oh,
No,
man.
there's no way you regret that decision, man. Low mileage bike for that cheap?
Is it a comfortable bike to go on a long drive with?
You know, it's not, and that's kind of the problem.
So, just the way the seat is positioned.
Right.
It doesn't look like
Yeah.
there's a lot of room for saddles or anything. It looks like it's more of just a Sunday afternoon ride.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I've done about a 5.5, 6 hour round trip on it. And I was hurting pretty good when I got home, but I tell you, still enjoyed every minute of it.
Okay.
How often do you ride it now?
As often as I can, just about every nice day. I'm kind of waiting for the rain to stop down here right now and hoping to head out into the hills a little bit.
Yeah, we're hoping for the rain to stop too. Now, since you brought this up, I've got to ask you, because this has always been a sticker shock for me, and I don't know why. I just don't let it get into my head that this is what it's going to be. What is the most money you've ever spent at the hairdresser?
About probably $250.
Okay. That's
Okay,
not nearly as bad as
Why is it that when women go, it costs so much more than when a guy goes, right? And
well, it's
I don't
also
mean,
a 3-hour adventure.
but I mean, not just, if you're getting some special cut, but I mean, like, if you literally go in and get your hair trimmed, right? Miles will say, hey, man, I'm going to the barbershop. He's just getting his hair trimmed. He does not have a perm, right? And it's $30, $40. So my wife will go in and get a trim. And it is a trim. That is all that has happened. But it's significantly more.
And if you color it, if you do anything crazy, then, I mean, the price starts just jacking up.
And that's when I'm dropping that kind of money. For a cut, I don't pay that much. But if I'm doing any highlights or, doing any foo-foo stuff, it's a little bit more.
How many times a year do you do the foo-foo stuff?
Oh, maybe 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah. It's just, it's the sticker shock of a woman's haircut. I still can't wrap my brain around it.
My wife's warming me up to this now, right? Because it's been about a month, and she's like, I got a call, fill in the blank, person we know that does hair, right? I'm like, oh no, more's coming. And then she's like, yeah, because I think I'm going to this. It's never just a haircut. And in my mind, all I can hear is, and you want to do what else now?
It's
so
worse.
for me, the return is I'm going to go out and get drunk. Like within that, like I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna spend a lot of money at the bar and I'm gonna come home drunk. Like you do your hair, I'm gonna do this. That makes it all a little easier.
One thing for sure that's better in that scenario is that she let you know what she was doing beforehand.
I don't know the cost. She's just letting me know, and I don't ask.
Correct. I have had the situation where I did not know this appointment was for that day, and when I got home, of course, after 3 hours in the chair, the first thing that should come out of my mouth is, whoa, really like your hair, or whatever the deal is, instead of not noticing.
Right, that's so.
Yeah, so I get in more trouble if I don't know that happened. And then the cost is the cost. I get that. But that's
like,
not,
what did they do if I can't tell?
How did I get in trouble? Because that's just not the first thing that I don't know.
But the thing is, you always get in trouble if you don't notice. I'm like, or maybe you're overpaying for something that's not having the impact you're looking for.
You got to keep in mind, though, too, there's a lot more hair and there's an upsell.
Always.
Right, like they're, you know what I mean? Like women are going to trust their stylist or whatever, but the stylist knows, like, if you can talk them into extension, you know what I mean? You could talk them into color, this or that, or how long the appointment's going to be, then they're making more money.
Then the other.
Whereas, like if you go to a barber shop, you say, this is what I want, that's what the dude did.
Have you ever bought something at the barbershop to take home? Because that's the other thing it seems like with my wife. You go and get your hair done, but then also it's been a bit of a shopping experience because whatever you did to your hair, it requires this shampoo.
Product. Yeah, they got some product.
I'm like, oh my God.
And that's not a $12 bottle.
No.
That's not pert.
Like, you can't just buy Head and Shoulders. You tell me Head and Shoulders doesn't work on that.
It's so expensive. You have no idea.
It is insane.
So the total bill walking out of there, and that was my problem, was I didn't recognize that it was darker or lighter, or because it was just a little bit taken off, or the lighting wasn't right. I couldn't see that there's a little red in it when the light hits it. But I'm looking like, what do you think?
What do I think of what?
I think, let's go upstairs. I don't know. What do you think? don't you see? And I'm like, wow, my hair. I'm like, your hair looks great. I just didn't know anything happened to it. Your hair always looks good. I didn't know.
That's digging the hole worse.
I know. I didn't know.
Well,
did you know she went?
No. That's the problem. It's kind of like...
Right. If you know they're going, then all you have to do, even though you can't tell the difference, you can say, oh, babe, that looks great. But if you don't know and notice anything different, like, oh, man, now I'm on the clock. Like,
Ted, do you remember the last time that I wore this?
Well, no.
Do you remember where we were?
No.
I was wearing this when you asked me to marry me.
I know. You're like, why would I remember that?
Yeah, I mean, you can remember stuff with women.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to remember with you.
Well, I'm saying hypothetically.
No, I know.
That would be the question.
The only one I've run into the bad thing is I have 2 dresses. I'm taking this one back. Okay, what do you think? Yeah, it doesn't look that good.
The one that they're taking back?
Yeah.
That should be the right answer.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But it should.
One's better.
You're right. Should be.
All right. I don't like this one anyhow. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, that's why we buy. That's why you buy certain pairs of jeans that fit you correctly. All jeans aren't built the same.
Right,
so
right.
All things don't fit people the same way. So if something fits you better just based on your build and the way it looks on you, then you're just giving an honest answer.
But that's the problem. Nobody wants an honest answer. They want to be told they look good.
What did you splurge on for you or someone else? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Mike. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola!
Hola!
How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks.
So, I'm in Vegas. This wasn't me that splurged, but I'm in Vegas, and I am with, I don't know if I should mention the person, but he used to be Tiger Woods' swing coach. And he was representing a product that I was selling. And we had a group, I think it was 12, 14 people, and we were at Nobu.
Uh-oh.
And when the bill came in, I figured I'd kind of peek over at it because the guy was sitting next to me that was paying. And it came out to $14,425.
Man, oh, man.
So you got 2 appetizers and a drink.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was about it. No, they kept bringing out these mega expensive bottles of sake.
Okay.
I guess they were like $400 or $500 a bottle.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, and I was like, what? And I don't even drink, so it was like, I didn't have any, so the whole bringing sake out was wasted on me for sure.
How was the dinner? How was the food?
Oh, first class, man. It was delicious. But I didn't even order. The guy that was paying for it, he just kept saying, bring this, bring that, bring this, bring that. I mean, you couldn't even move your water glass with how much stuff we had on the table.
I was going to say, so in this instance, to me, that would be one of those places where you would leave hungry and then go someplace else and get food.
Yeah, basically.
No.
Okay.
No,
so
they needed to bring a wheelbarrow in to wheel me out of there. I was so full, I couldn't even move.
But how good is the food, man?
Okay, $14,000. It's not $14,000 good, but it was really good.
Mm-hmm. It is very, very good. But it's the first time I heard about it is we had gone to South Beach, right? And we decided with this other couple, we can afford one night in this hotel, and we're going to split rooms, right? Or we're going to share a room, but to split the cost of the room. But there was a Nobu on location. I'm completely unfamiliar with this place, and my wife and this other chick, Karen, they're like, man, like Robert De Niro's a part owner. I'm like, no offense. I don't look at Robert De Niro and think like, oh, food. But anyway, he's an investor or something like this. We go into this place, and it's not like particularly fancy and so like it's nice, but we could go in like this. They wouldn't have a thing to say about it, right? And then I realized as I'm looking around, the other people that are starting to walk in for this dinner rush, man, and these people are made of money. There's a guy who's wearing a suit. I'm like, if he sold his suit, he'd have enough to buy our house. Like, this kind of guy. And he's probably 70 years old, and he has this drop-dead gorgeous, like, 25-year-old dime on his arm. Her skirt was so short, I mean, she sat down, and you just saw everything. And I remember both my wife and the other woman with us were just like, can you believe that? Meanwhile, me and my other buddy were like,
yes, I can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Miami Beach in Nobu.
Dude, it is unreal. So we ordered those dumplings. That's the first time I ever tried them. They are so good. But I keep looking at the menu, like, just looking at the cost of everything. Like, man, I don't know. I know that we all came here because we were going to splurge on this, but I'm like, for dumplings. So they lay down the dumplings. We all try one. We looked at each other. We're like, we're getting 2 more plates of these. At this point, I don't care the cost. It was that good.
I think the last thing I really splurged on ridiculous was probably those king crab legs I bought in the fall.
Oh, that's right, man.
They were Norwegian.
Do those cost more?
I think so. I think the fishery up in Alaska was closed for a little bit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was. Okay.
But yeah, like I said, we spent way too much money on them. I mean, right, when you're from Maryland, like, right, we love crabs.
Sure.
So I told that to the guy, and he's like, I got something for you. So we bought other crabs, like dungees and some snow crabs for our low country boil. But then, we bought those 2 giant crab legs, and then me and my buddy just ate them. We were like, these are too expensive. Nobody else is going to respect how good this is. But with that said, probably some of the best crab meat I've ever had.
I was going to ask, was it worth it? I mean, it's hard to say, right? I get that they're super.
I don't regret it. I wouldn't do it again.
Okay. All right. That's good enough answer. Right.
I'm still trying to find these.
You can't. I already looked up down the menu. And they're not on there, but you could tell the prices, everything. Most of the appetizers look like they're about $50 a pop.
Mm-hmm. So you're looking at dessert. What are some of the prices on the desserts there?
Desserts are $17, $10, depending on what you get. That's not the most expensive things. They have experiences.
They have a hotel in Vegas.
$250.
No booze?
Or they have like a suite.
Damn.
But I want to say it's 15 or 16 G's just to stay there before you even...
You got to be kidding me.
Before you're eating food. No, I mean, Nobu's one of those places. Though.
No, I know. I mean, like I said, my encounters with Nobu have been brief. Cheap compared to what they're probably used to making off of a table or someone sitting at the bar. But, God damn, it's good. And the food's so good.
Half of the stuff on the menu, I don't even know what it is. I'm unfamiliar with a lot of these things. I mean...
Yeah, well, if it's not vegetables, try it. That's all I'd say.
And as far as the dinner menu, oh, God. And the things that you can get on the dinner menu, there are no prices on this. So everything else does have a price.
Warning.
That's warning, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. It really is.
All right.
Also, you guys don't listen to rap. Generally, if anything's brought up in a rap song, you probably can't afford it.
It seems that way, right?
Right. So Nobu's brought up a lot.
Okay. There you go.
Right. Like, I love the bottle of Louis XIII. I like cognac, but, I've never tasted it.
Right. Ice Cube did bring up 7-Eleven, so at least
there you go.
Well, there's certain things.
Some we can afford.
If they're not bragging.
$1.50 pizza.
Right. Yeah, he wasn't bragging. He just mentions it, right?
Wait, I mean, back in the day, you could, you could afford a bottle of Belvedere and some Alizé. But yeah, I don't know, when Future's talking about Nobu, I was like, I'll probably never eat there.
What did you splurge on for you or someone else? 206-421-ROCK.
By the way, someone here, we're talking about women getting the haircuts and all this kind of thing, and then asking you if you notice. And, of course, we don't, unless it's drastic. But, no, we don't notice. Someone here says, Thrill, trim your goatee and see if your wife notices. That way you can ask if she noticed anything that I guarantee she would notice.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee
women are attentive.
Right.
I mean, they pay attention.
And half the time, because she hates the bottom of it, because it's all split
guys too.
Right.
I
know you don't. Yeah. That's my point. I'm just saying, I have buddies. I'm like, oh, you just got out of the chair. Nice haircut.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sure.
Wait, my one friend's like, nobody else notices. I'm like, yeah, it's just the little things.
Mm-hmm. Right. But no, she would notice because she hates it. The bottom. It's like it's all split ends, but I let it go because I know it bugs her. Don't ask me why I do that. It's just what I do. So she's like, you just need to trim the split ends. I'm like, the more you bring this up, the less likely it's going to happen.
I mean, Miles, don't I almost every time I'll be like, oh, you got a haircut.
Yeah, absolutely. We see each other.
How's it make you feel?
We see each other every day, though. So,
as opposed to your wife?
There's a lot more hair there. So if you took an inch off,
right,
or something like that, I'm probably not going to notice. And that takes the split ends off. So...
Right, but she keeps saying, because she notices. Right. When I talk to her, I will see her eyes, go down my beard, and I know she's staring at the split ends on the bottom. I know she is. Mm-hmm. And I just see the disgust in her face, no matter what she's talking about. So, yeah, she would notice in a heartbeat. She keeps threatening to trim it when I'm sleeping.
What did you splurge on for you or someone else? 206-421-ROCK.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, she thinks so. Hello, Samuel. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola!
Hola!
So, back in December of this past winter, I had bought an 02 Trailblazer. Had the 4.2 V inline 6, Had $211,000 on the Odo. I spent $3,000 on it. Only to have it for maybe 24 hours before I decided to throw a rod.
You had one day before to throw a rod.
Yeah, literally one day, exact 24 hours before I decided to throw a rod.
Did that crack the engine block?
I don't know what condition the block was in, but I know that the engine was done.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't a totally bad experience. It taught me to never buy a run car from a junkyard.
Well,
wow.
Okay. Yeah, with 211,000 miles on.
Glad everybody heard that. Knowledge we can pass on to our listeners.
I never heard that before.
I'm going to give that advice to
I always
myself.
go to the junkyard.
Yeah.
I thought you went to the junkyard to get parts.
You don't see
that is why most people go. He just bought all the parts together at once.
I've never seen that license plate tag, the wraparound that says, Randy's Junkyard.
Right.
All makes and models.
But I do respect. I get it. I'd probably do that. Like, oh man, you got one ready to go?
Hell yeah!
Screw it, I'll take it.
I mean, we used to go to the junkyard for parts.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you could actually work on cars when I started driving. But other than that, I wouldn't buy the whole car.
No, I would not.
What did you splurge on for you or someone else? 206-421-ROCK.